I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.
Unfortunately, I got a little nervous tonight because Copville was in the building, so I'm trying to compose myself.
What is up? Welcome to Locked Up with Copville. Compose yourself, because I bring you local, accurate information and news very calmly. Not yelling and screaming in the county commission chambers, not acting like a moron. Very calm, because I'm a calm person. Who as Mike Dilks? So Mr. Marsh, who is, he kind of opened the door. Backstory, obviously I post a lot of stuff. I say a lot of stuff. I calmly walked into the county commission meeting last night, surrounded by people who do not like me. But I did it anyway. I walked in, I sat down right behind Mr. Marsh, which the camera picked up at the very beginning of the meeting. And in true Mr. Marsh fashion, he became unhinged. I didn't say, the only words that came out of my mouth when I sat down and he turned around and saw me were, "What's up, team Success?" Very quietly, very calmly. The rest is available online, just like everything else. Public record, public record. You can see it yourself, all online. Became unhinged, had to be warned about his behavior, which I don't know why you're that obsessed with another man, but he became unhinged, and you guys saw, if you watched the beginning of it, him yelling and carrying on. And then, as you see, he's now permanently part of my new intro, because I was that much in another man's head that 2 hours later, when he finally took the podium, he was disturbed and upset and couldn't compose himself because Copville was in the building. Segue, I'd like to shout out Dinner Revolution. I don't know if you guys ever been to Dinner Revolution. Great ownership, great restaurant, great food, great servers. I do not work there. I did work there for 2 months after I sat around collecting money from my businesses and got bored. So I went to work at Dinner Revolution because I like the place. They do meal preps. They do great food, rotating menu, great people. So thank you, Mr. Marsh, for pumping Dinner Revolution. I'd like to pump them as well. This is completely Mike posting this. This isn't any affiliation with Dinner Revolution other than they're great. They have great food and they are great people. So having said that, some of the mud that Marsh threw on his post that got like 4 views and 5 likes, that he was going to put me on a bigger platform. Steroid use. I use steroids. He makes the horsey gesture as if he broke news. I use steroids. I have no problem admitting I use steroids. I did TikTok. He posted my TikTok. Everybody knows that locally. I was a TikTok clown. I was an absolute moron. Very transparent, because I was a moron. And I made TikToks and it was considered racist. It was garbage. Nothing ever really came of it. Your Indian River County Sheriff bought me a ring light in the middle of all that and condoned it. And then in true weasel fashion, when it hit the news, he backed away from me. But I was wrong. Shouldn't have done it. As far as steroid use, yep, I did steroids. A lot of people do steroids. All your favorite athletes do steroids. Kind of like debate, should Barry Bonds be in the Hall of Fame? It is what it is. I'd rather look like me, be ready to work like me, and not look like man boobs and Mr. Marsh. But that's just me. You got, you want a guy looking like him protecting you. You want a different guy. So very transparent. Yes, I did. I'm not going to go into all the details of that because they can't really talk about it. And the stuff he's saying is very interesting because I didn't get fired for that. I resigned. I've posted my resignation letter. I resigned September 12th. You can go to FDLE's website, look up my certificate. I left not under any investigation. I left on my free will. And actually, October 31st of this year, I collect my first pension check from the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. Thank you, Sheriff Flowers and the FRS and everybody. I accept your congratulations for 20 years of service, and I appreciate you guys giving me my first retirement check. Don't really need it, but I'll take it. I worked a little bit for it, so I appreciate it. He brings up DEA investigation, FBI. Everybody runs their mouth about that as well. Yep, back they launched a whole investigation on me back in the day. There's an old saying, you can indict a ham sandwich. I must be salami or roast beef because I didn't get indicted. And then that information was passed on to the sheriff's office and investigated by who? Your Indian River Sheriff, Eric Flowers, who told me to my face there was nothing there. Returned it back to them. So, Mr. Marsh, your friend, Little Teeth, as you call him, and we'll get into that, investigated that and determined that nothing happened. Not even an internal affairs investigation. 2012, 13, I think that was. Fast forward, 2014, 2024. The case is still pending. A long, long wiretap case for pill mills. I get called to the stand. You can go get that testimony in court. I loved it. It was great. We talked about strip clubs on the stand, trips I made. But again, nothing came of it. And actually, I have the text message. I was going to post the text messages between me and Flowers where he acknowledged that I was going to that hearing and that just like old times, we would be in it together because he knew I didn't do anything. But this isn't, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save that for another day when I start posting text messages and exposing all that stuff. So that's who I am. I would like Mike Marsh, if he's going to debate this, to sit down and tell everybody who he is. Does he have any skeletons in his closet? Does he have any investigations? Well, he does. And some of those we all know about locally, but unfortunately for him, some of them are in other counties. And I'm going to show you that one of the big things he keeps throwing at me is like, I was hanging out with bad people and that I was investigated. Well, he is a convicted felon. He has some pretty serious arrests locally, just domestic violence. And then there's some stuff in Hillsborough County. I don't know if you knew about all that stuff, but we're going to get into that. But let me plug myself since finally Mike Marsh opened the door for everybody locally who is Copville. So I run the Copville OG Instagram page, inspired by Eric Flowers, Indian River County Sheriff's Office, for fucking me sideways. I didn't want to cuss, for screwing me sideways in my internal affairs investigation. When that was all going on, I started this page. Originally, it went to 135,000 followers, but it got nuked by Instagram. But when they attempted to transfer me into the jail and screw my life because they thought they had me, I had an entire social media company and sales company that was making more money than I was making as a deputy. So, Mr. Marsh, no, I don't need to wait tables. I did it for fun. I'm making more retired than I was working countless hours chasing bad guys. So that's one platform. As you can see there, Mr. Marsh threatened me with his 9,000 followers on Facebook that got zero engagement on his. My account sees about 10.5 million views a month on Copville. It's pretty entertaining. One of the other companies that I'm soon to be part owner of is the Anti-Hero Broadcast. You can find that on YouTube at the Anti-Hero Broadcast. 123,000 subscribers on YouTube. We stream live every Monday, 11 to 1 p.m. and every Thursday morning now, 11 to 1 p.m. Live broadcast, news, information, current events, guests, big guests. We've had Eddie Gallagher on. We've had big name people on. You can find the Dinner Revolution waiter on the Anti-Hero Broadcast as co-host to that. I also am part owner of Counterculture Inc., which is a social media company. We also stream many shows on Counterculture Inc. I will be live every Wednesday with Jordan Innes from Sandy Springs Police Department doing a live show every week on there. And we have multiple podcasts on that network, 8,000 subscribers, great stuff. We have some big shows like Other Honorable with Jimmy Watson and Taylor Kavanaugh, former Navy SEALs and operators and really good dudes. So that's one of the other companies. So you can find me on any of those. This is going to be very informal today, but I have to get it out at noon and it's already 11:25. So remove. Do I have any other images to show? Image file. I plugged that. There's Counterculture. All right. So let's go to Facebook. Let's get on Facebook because I was threatened on there. Not only was I threatened in public, I was threatened on Facebook by Mr. Marsh. So let's add my Facebook in. So I made this post after I was threatened. Mr. Marsh opened his mouth tonight, admitted my presence at the county budget meeting, intimidated him. I sat down behind him. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything. He came unglued. Scroll through the comments. I posted it, and Mike, this got a lot of views. I have the analytics. It got more than your little post. But here we are. He's got good attorneys. He made us clowns. This guy, remember, I want you guys to all remember, this is Team Success. This is Eric Flowers' main man. This guy is at the sheriff's office. His vehicle is parked in the parking lot of the sheriff's office. He is in many pictures, which you're going to see with the sheriff. He is a right-hand man of the sheriff. And something interesting he brought up last night at the meeting was, I have family members that work there. Are my family members now in danger? 2 of them that work there, because Michael Marsh has an issue with me, and his best friend, buddy, in all his pictures is the sheriff of Indian River County. Very, very important to pay attention what happens to my family from this point forward and already. But as my family in danger, Mr. Marsh has threatened me. He is directly connected to the sheriff in many pictures, big supporter. They work together. His vehicle's parked at the sheriff's office. He just posted the Grinch. They're going to have a Christmas thing. The Indian River County Sheriff is in bed with Michael C. Marsh, Team Success, who is coming after me, acknowledges I have family members at the sheriff's office. So is Eric Flowers, Michael Marsh, going to come after my family? I guess we'll see. So pay attention. This is corruption at its best. This is your local government. Nobody's reporting this stuff. This is the stuff that goes on. And all you in my comments, I know you guys know this, and you're finally glad that it's coming out. Michael Marsh, soundbite, clownery at the podium. He flipped a switch on this because I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Oh Lord, Phil Collins reference. So I'm big mad. My drug use got me out of law enforcement. False. I got some great documents showcasing how crooked you are. DEA investigation. Eric Flowers cleared me. Not only cleared me, promoted me to sergeant. You couldn't do half of what I do. I donate so much money to fallen officers, animal rescues, GoFundMes. I'm going to pull your books. We're going to see what Team Success is all about. We're going to do some public records on you. We're going to find out where your money's going and if it's going to the right places or you're putting it in your pocket. Not saying you do, but we're going to find out. I have 24 hours to remove the charity, or we'll see future attorneys. Well, unless you own Team Success with 3 C's because you're thick. So I went with the 3 C's for thickness. That has nothing to do with you, but nice try. His last comment was he wishes I would have ran my mouth in person. And he made Lacey famous by the way you don't have tables to wait on. So he wishes that I ran my mouth in public. This is a man that is in bed with the sheriff, wishing that what was he going to fight me? Was he going to beat me up? No, he wasn't. But was he going to try? Was he going to try to assault me? Was he going to batter me? Mr. Flowers, you're my sheriff. Is this guy, is he representing you? He's threatening me right here on Facebook. He wishes I would have ran my mouth. We'll see what the sheriff's office does. So there's the episode, 3 C's for thick. And I went to Michael Marsh's page and I offered to have him on live. Very simple. Here we can talk like men, but that was not accepted. So who is Michael Marsh? I'm not, I'm going to go through this as best I can and keep it most organized. Michael Marsh became famous locally for a viral video of him harassing one of our deputies. Let me just preface this with, he harasses poor girl. He thought he was hot shit. He harassed his girl, put it online. It became viral. I can only imagine what it must have felt like for her as an employee of the sheriff's office. I know it couldn't have been fun. I've had my name dragged through the mud yesterday and multiple times. I've been on the news. It sucks. But viral video. Let's watch it. Let's watch what this is Michael Marsh's claim to fame, and with the same agency that he now is a part of and operates with on a daily basis and is in bed with. This is what he did to this agency.
Guys, we're live at the Indian River County Courthouse with the greatest lieutenant. Lieutenant, am I allowed to record right here?
You are. It's a public area.
Okay, is it okay to record any deputy that I want?
It is legal, yes.
It is legal. Look, it's Lacey Thomas. Hey, Lacey. Remember when you falsely arrested me? How you doing? Remember when those charges got dropped? Look at you with stripes. What are you now? Corporal Lacey? Look at that, guys. It's Corporal Lacey Thomas of the Indian River County Sheriff's Office. See, Miss Lacey back in the day had me arrested, and when she accidentally sent the wrong information to the state attorney's office, the case got dropped. Damn, Lacey.
Damn, Lacey.
Huh? Aw, you're so quiet today. Silence of the lambs. But out of respect for this great lieutenant, I won't go about to my day. Look at this guy. Are you the only lieutenant here?
I think I'm the only lieutenant in the building today.
Only one in the building. This is a great guy. Customer service every time I come in here. Lieutenant, I think Harrington, right, sir?
That's correct.
Lieutenant Harrington. So before we bid that Lacey farewell, Lacey, do you have anything to say to the fine folks on the end corruption of Indian River County? Do I get an apology for my false arrest? Nothing? Lacey. Right into the mic. You don't want to talk to the mic?
I've seen enough. That is Eric Flowers' best friend. That is Eric Flowers, your Indian River County Sheriff, his best friend, harassing one of Eric's former subordinates. Who else is missing in that is poor Craig Timmer. And I'm dragging, we're dropping him today. He harassed Craig Timmer, who is still employed there as a sergeant, so bad, filed complaint after complaint after complaint after complaint, making poor Craig's life miserable. Can you imagine being Craig Timmer, still working for the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, and your Indian River County Sheriff is in bed with that guy who made Craig's life miserable? Miserable, he made his life. Complaint after complaint. You can be sorry for being a piece of garbage. You can apologize for all your arrests that we're getting ready to talk about. That video lives forever, and every complaint and the pain and suffering you caused Indian River County deputies by making those videos and going after poor Timmer, and every day you walked into a complaint, you can't undo the mental health problems you caused those people by being a piece of garbage. But Eric Flowers preaches mental health, STAR team. He actually had somebody speak on the mental health last night, how important it is. I think Slim Ross Partee, not looking slim, he had some things to say maybe about mental health and all the calls, and everybody gets up there last night and highlight, oh God, all this. You have a guy around your deputies who harassed the sheriff's office and made those employees, I bet, borderline suicidal for poor Lacey and the way she was blasted over World Star over that video. And then Craig Timmer, I remember talking to Timmer time and time again about how the complaints just kept rolling in. Mike Marsh made his life miserable. Now Mike Marsh has a key to the city. He can walk around that agency any place he wants. He drives his truck around, and there's no recourse for those people that got affected by this. What a great sheriff to bring that guy around. So, before we get into Mike Marsh's criminal history, let's talk about if Mike Marsh was always a fan of the sheriff, or did something change? Money, getting in bed with each other, did something happen? But let's go. We're all about transparency. We like to talk about people. Here is a post from Mike Marsh's Facebook page, April 8th, 2019. We're leading up to the election. I don't care if I have to hold a Touchberry, Kirby, and Roselle sign, anyone other than Baby Teeth for sheriff. No more lore. So he is talking about Baby Teeth Eric Flowers, your Indian River County Sheriff. That is Mike Marsh's words. That's who Eric Flowers walks around with. That's who Eric Flowers is in bed with. That guy that wrote that. Wanda Scott jumps in. Another disaster. But anyway, so that is April 8th, 2019. That is how he feels about Eric Flowers. It's one post. We're not going to go crazy because we're going to wrap it up. We're going to get into the good stuff, but we're not going to be here all day. Here's another post. Michael Marsh, March 12th, 2019. It may be the end of an era, but if you put little lore, Eric Flowers, in power, you will have another 4 years of terror with the Baby Teeth era. You were right, Michael Marsh. You were absolutely right. I don't know what changed other than money. Maybe you're being paid off. Maybe you have a deal with him. We'll find out. We'll do some records requests. You were right back then that it would be a damn 4 years of terror. And it was. And it's still going. But this is the guy the sheriff is in bed with who posted that about him. What changes? What changes in a sheriff's backbone that a guy can write this about him and have all these things to say about him, and now he's in bed with him? What changes? What goes through your head as a man that allows you to associate with this dude? Does he associate with him? Let's see. Let's load up the images. Boom. Boom. Where's the Grinch? I got to get the Grinch one. I hope I see. I bet I didn't send it. Yeah. Oh. Hold on. One more derogatory. Here we go. Mike Marsh. Way back. Screenshot somebody sent me, so I don't know the exact date. My man crush Frosty highlights confers with the head of the regime. There's no pre-qualifications to work at the sheriff's office. Your undersheriff has never used his handcuffs. He's talking about Bud Spencer, I think, back then. And the closest sheriff came to an arrest was catching speeders in 95. No justice, no peace. This was your George Floyd era, Mike Marsh, who was, I don't know. But there's Eric Flowers, and he's referencing the agency talking negative, but, you know, Eric's in bed with him now. So is he in bed with him? There they are. Two peas in a pod. Two birds of a feather flocking together. There he is again. Mike, you might want to try the TRT. You know, we can get you on. I can get you hooked up with somebody. Go to hp-trt.com. Use code ANTI for 15% off. There they are. We got a lot of people on that one. Got your buddy back there. Get all those. And then you got Michael C. Marsh. We won. We won. So, yes, there he is in bed with the sheriff. They're buddies. They're in profile picture. And actually, Mike Marsh has Eric Flowers in that picture in his profile, which is a little off to me to have another man in my profile picture. But, so, let's load up the documents. Let's go here. Open. Here. Those are PDFs. That is the local paperwork. So let's just go here. We know Mike Marsh was arrested in Erie County for domestic violence. I have that affidavit to show you. He got the perjury case and he violated domestic violence injunction. That may be what Lacey, what he was talking about. There was an error in paperwork. You notice he never accused her of false arrest or bad arrest. He just forgot to send paper. But Mike didn't know, or maybe he doesn't tell people because he's not transparent. You got to tell people, hey, I'm on steroids. Hey, I was investigated. Hey, I was on TikTok. You got to be upfront because if you're going to throw stones and you're going to, dig up skeletons, you got to dig up your own. So your sheriff, in Erie County Sheriff Eric Flowers, hangs out with this guy. If you can zoom in or if you can't see it, this is an arrest of Michael C. Marsh. State of Florida versus Michael Charles Marsh, date of birth 10/14/83, which is Michael Marsh. What are the charges? Hillsborough County. Burglary of a dwelling, grand theft, carrying a concealed firearm, and obstruction or opposing an officer without violence. He was not convicted. Don't want to give you bad news. He was arrested for this. I believe he pled to a misdemeanor. They dropped some of the charges and he caught a theft charge out of all that, but he was arrested for it. You're going to say I was under investigation. I'm guilty, automatically guilty. So you can make your determination that if he was arrested for all that stuff, what was the facts of the case? I didn't want to bore everybody with affidavits. You can go to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, and you can go to the clerk of court information. There's another case there. You guys can look into that one on your own. I have a heart and a soul. I'm not going to bring that part up, but there's some other cases over there that highlight who Michael Marsh is and stuff he's been involved in. So then we have local slides and PDFs. Your computer. Let's go. So here is open image processing. Should have it ready. I'll get the other one ready too, so we don't sit here all day. Open. All right. Here's an arrest affidavit. Michael Marsh was arrested for domestic violence. You can go to the website of the clerk of courts. There's your arrest affidavit narrative. Back in 2015, he was breaking windows, acting like a maniac, kind of like his behavior was earlier today or yesterday, where he did that. Here's his plea form. Pled guilty to domestic violence. There's his sentencing. So he's, pled no contest, adjudicated guilty. So he's a domestic violence. Eric Flowers walks a mile in her shoes, does all that stuff. Lonnie Rich was let go for, I believe women were upset that he slammed the door, but he subjects the sheriff's office to a person convicted of domestic violence. Seems hypocritical. We all know about the other incident where he illegally recorded an old man and tried to extort him in a parking lot. It's all on video. He secretly recorded somebody. That was his thing. He was into recording people and things and all that stuff. We'll bring that up. Here is the affidavit. Let me get the other one loaded. PDF. Your computer. Sentencing. So here he is again. This is the warrant affidavit for the perjury case. All the information in there about how he illegally recorded everybody, the guy, all the stuff that's going on. You can go around the clerk of court's website and see all that for yourself. Not going to go crazy, but people know about that one. And then here is the plea form from that case. He pled guilty to unlawful disclosure of intercepted communications, which is a felony. His the case of the defendant shall not be adjudicated guilty. Hold on. The case that has been why the defendant nope, he was guilty. So he is as a felon. And he was sentenced to, he pled no contest to this, and he was sentenced to 3 years probation. So he is a felon. He talked shit about me, right? I hung out with bad people. You're in Indian County Sheriff's Office, Team Success, convicted felon. What else does this guy do that's against everything he says? We know he says you don't cheat on your wife, and he does, or you'll be fired. He says don't do these things, but then he does it. Like, it's tough to take you serious, man. And your boy's ever running his mouth. This would have never happened. This episode doesn't happen except Mike Marsh opens the door, and here we are. What else we got? Let's go back to image files. So I think that's all I want to cover. I mean, that's Mike Marsh. That's everything. Play that video one more time because it's my I like this video. This is now part of my permanent intro, but this you can judge the unstableness or mental. You can make your own judgment on this. This was 2 hours after all I did was sit behind this man. Your Indian County Sheriff's best buddy. This is what he had to say in the public forum.
Unfortunately, I got a little nervous tonight because Copville was in the building, so I'm trying to compose myself.
One more time, because I sent this to Dom Izzo and Tyler. You can't pay money to get a marketing ad this good. To drop my name, mention my website, copvilleog.com, mention my Instagram, and locally I was like, people were kind of catching on. You just did it for me. You got everybody paying attention.
Unfortunately, I got a little nervous tonight because Copville was in the building, so I'm trying to compose myself.
You got nervous because Copville was in the building, and you're trying to compose yourself 2 hours later. Wild stuff. So that's it, people. I mean, www.copvilleog.com. There's your merchandise. I do custom stuff. I do all sales on there. I don't wait tables at Dinner Revolution. Sorry. The Anti-Hero Broadcast on Instagram and YouTube, Counterculture Inc., Copville OG, which is where this is going to be on YouTube. That is, let me just make sure. Let me just close with this. I'm a very reasonable person. I offered Mike Marsh to come on and discuss this. You guys have all seen this guy. You've seen him terrorize the community. You've seen him, and what he did. Here's the other thing he did. I got about 25 messages, 2 phone calls last night from people I'd never have talked to in my life to offer up information about him and talk about him. So again, Mike, if you're going to come at me, you have to have all your own dirty laundry out. I challenge you to sit down and tell everybody about your burglary case and tell everybody about your other case in Hillsborough, and then tell everybody about your domestic violence and tell everybody about, why you did that to Lacey, and tell everybody why you did all those things. I can tell you why I did them. I'm very open about the things I've done. I have no problem discussing them. You can spin it whatever you want. I hope you post documents and everything as well. Your sheriff cleared me of everything. Your sheriff promoted me to sergeant. I have the message from your sheriff saying we'll be in this together when the court hearing happened last year, and it was all garbage. I have the whole text thread. If your sheriff wants me to post it, the ball's in your court. You do whatever you want with this information. I will post everything, all the messages between me and your sheriff. I have lots of them going back years and years and years. I have DMs and memes that he sent me that maybe aren't the greatest of color for the sheriff, but this is all in everybody else's court. I do this social media stuff and because it leads to a lot of good things as far as, like I said, donations and being able to help people. Part of my platform was comedy, but part of my platform was being very honest, which unfortunately, as you can see locally, we don't get much honesty. The local news doesn't really cover any of the Ray hit pieces and they are what they are. You're right. They're one-sided, but I'm here. I am here. There's a little button right here that says invite. I click that button, invite. I send you a link. Welcome to the show. You're right on here with me. You can say whatever you want about me. You can challenge me. I don't pimp out Charlie Kirk either. I heard people pimping out Charlie Kirk last night, part of their presentation last night. And I also heard DMJ. There's a guy named DMJ, Dennis Michael Lynch. That's Eric's buddy. He ran an ad for Eric on his social media. I was actually going to highlight that at one point. And they used the Charlie Kirk murder to push the sheriff's budget and agenda, which is pretty cheesy. I made all this. I made these shirts and I donated all the money and proceeds to Turning Point USA. Still sell them. Flags, hats, shirts, freedom. You buy it from my site. Money gets donated. Whatever. In closing, though, because I got derailed on this. At last night's meeting, I want you guys to go back and watch it. And I want you to watch the somberness and the presentation of all those deputies and civilians that spoke. And you tell me if they looked like they were excited, happy, jubilant, and of their own free will walking up to that podium to make those statements. I know at least two of the people, you guys can guess, I'm not going to name names, two of the people that walked up to those podiums adamantly supported Milo Thornton and begged me to continue to post on social media during the election in support of Milo because they knew the importance of the sheriff not being in there. There's more than two, but I remember two. The other thing that you guys didn't see behind the scenes of those meetings was Cliff Labe, the sheriff's minion. He had the papers the deputies were reading in his possession, and he handed some of those out as if the deputies didn't actually write those. They were given what to say. It seems very North Korea. Like, are these deputies there speaking on their own free will? Or are they being forced, and are they being targeted like other people have in the agency? Are they being targeted and made to do that? Because if you see the way I'm passionate about this statement, if I get up to that podium and I want to raise and I support my sheriff, you're going to see a very jubilant, I love that word, I use it twice now, very happy, very let's go to Disney type Mike, and I'm going to get up there and I'm going to be like, hey man, we really need this. Go back and watch those deputies talk. Please find one that looks excited. Even the captain, Partee, doesn't look excited. Nobody looks excited. Nobody looks like I'm up here for the right reason. Everybody looks like they got hijacked in the parking lot and marched in there to speak in front of the board. And it just didn't, I don't know, I was there. It didn't feel very like they deserve the money. Let me stop right there. They deserve all the money. They're very hardworking people there. But it didn't look like people walking up to a podium that wanted to speak on the sheriff's behalf and wanted to get in front of that podium and talk to people about how important those raises were. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I saw it one-sided. You guys go back and watch it. But I can tell you people in that room that walked up to that podium with paper were handed those papers before they went up. Could it have been reviewed? Could they have written it and then it got reviewed by Cliff and the brainchilds and all the people there? Maybe. I'm not saying, I'm just saying that I saw Cliff hand people papers that they then went up and read, which seems very odd to me. I write my own stuff down. I have all my notes. I don't have anybody pre-write anything for me. I do it. And I also do it like this. I don't get in front of the camera like the sheriff and with multiple angles and all the switching around stuff and pre-written and predetermined. I get out here most of the time live. This time is recorded and will be out in 10 minutes. And I just say what's on my mind. No holds barred. I worked 23 years very hard to be able to earn the right to walk away and say whatever I want. I was not fired. I was not let go because of drugs. I was not let go because of any investigation. If anybody might need a lawyer, it's you people that are saying those things about me, slandering my name and lying, because that's not what happened. You can go to FDLE and check my certificate. You can pull anything you want. None of those things are true. And it's ironic, like I said, that Mike Marsh has that inside information that the sheriff made a slick comment about horses to a group of guys, horse steroids. And Mike Marsh is rambling about horses. How does he know that? How does he get that information? I don't care. Equipose, look it up. I don't care. But how does he have that information? How does he get that inside information? Seems pretty shady. But we play ball, you know. We play the same game, and I want to bring you guys accurate. The budget stuff I talk about is I know this guy misuses funds. Trust me. Stay tuned. I know this guy mismanages money, black and white. And like I said, I walked into a meeting last night, completely there to witness and see public record, public information being relayed. I was attacked verbally, yelled at. The sheriff's best friend and good friend kind of making idle threats in his post about my family, things about my family. Are they going to be targeted? I don't know. I need you guys to follow, pay attention, be careful, be prepared, and watch out for your Indian River County Sheriff, because God knows what he's capable of with his buddy Mike Marsh, who has threatened to put his bullshit company back together, whatever it is. I'm excited. Mike Marsh, anytime you want to sit down on video, on camera, on recording, in person, in public, you don't have to secretly record me. Anytime you want to sit down and talk, I'm in. As soon as 5 minutes after this episode to 5 years from now, you want to sit down and have a conversation man to man, it will be recorded. We can sit down and do it. Eric Flowers, same option for you. I don't suspect you'll do that. The last message you sent me after my demotion was you had a dream about me. I don't know whether it was you, Mike Marsh, and being obsessed with me, but you texted me, you had a dream about me and you wanted to talk, and then radio silence. So anybody wants to sit down and talk about this, here's your platform. Any citizens locally have any Mike Marsh, Eric Flowers issues, you need a place to come tell your story about the sheriff's office and being mistreated, because I think the men and women of the sheriff's office, for the most part, are very good people. They deserve the money. I'm behind them. I want them to succeed, but you have to be accountable. You have to hold yourself to a standard. If anybody has anything they want to bring forward, I'm going to vet it. I'm going to make sure it's accurate, but we can get it out on Copville. Please follow, share, do all that cool stuff. I appreciate your time, and have a good Tuesday.
I'm the only white face in this area. You don't belong here. Stop, I'll shoot you in the back.
Unfortunately, I got a little nervous tonight because Copville was in the building, so I'm trying to compose myself.